I hope y'all ready for what this means. If you think the racism in this country is out of control, wait till you see what the white South Africans are gonna bring to this country. President Trump signed an executive order in February granting an exception for white South Africans to be coming here as refugees. Now, nothing's wrong with their country. They're not seeking asylum. They're not being mistreated in South Africa. They are told that they are going to treat everybody equally, and they don't want that because remember, they colonized South Africa, and now they're going to be in your neighborhoods. Here they come, taking over your neighborhoods. They have refugee status. They're going to seek asylum here. They're going to get all kinds of social benefits. But that's okay as long as they're not Venezuelan. That's okay as long as they're not Mexican. It's okay as long as they're not from Cuba. But since they're white, bring them on over. We'll take them. No worries.
So South Africa's own government is even coming out today and telling Trump, if you want to take on these refugees, that's on you. But just so you know, none of them have been properly vetted. A lot of them have been involved in protests that are pro-apartheid. And on top of that, these guys are actually claiming that they're being persecuted for being white. I don't know if you know a whole lot about South Africa, where Elon Musk is from, but the apartheid just ended not very long ago. If you don't know what that is, it was mass segregation. South Africa's government also came out and added that it's really hard to be a refugee of persecution when you're amongst the most highest earners and highly educated in the entire region. But in my personal opinion, this kind of gives me remnants of Operation Paperclip, what the U.S. government did after World War II. They got a little over 1,500 German scientists and high-ranking officials from the military, Hitler's military, to come over to the United States so they could learn from them. Now, I'm no mathematician, but 2 + 2 = 4. What Trump's been doing here in the United States as far as deporting individuals, they've all been brown people. And now he's more than willing to bring thousands of white people claiming they've been persecuted by brown people without even fully vetting them. The answer to this simple mathematical equation is Trump wants more white people in the United States. If it ain't white, it ain't right. And that's literally Trump's mindset. You can't prove me otherwise.
Let me get this straight. This administration is rounding up brown people, criminals or not, legal or not, shipping them back to the country where they came from or to all sorts of places and prisons, right? And one of the reasons why is they said during the race that these people are taking your jobs, right? That there's so many of them, 20 fucking million of them came over here and they're taking all of your jobs. And you should be scared, right? That was their thing, fear tactic. Yet they announced that they are going to house refugees, white refugees from South Africa, white South Africans. They're coming over. They're going to house them. But there was no immigration reform. There was no like, hey, I know there are, 20 million illegals here. Let's figure out how we can legalize them. No, let's round them up, ship them off because they're brown. But, white South Africans want to come here? Because we need to take care of them? Let's house them. Let's take care of them. You guys cannot fucking tell me that this administration isn't you-know-what.
100 white South Africans are expected to arrive in the country out of 8,000 or so applications. How is this being received in the U.S.? Are there concerns, particularly by refugee advocacy groups, for example?
Well, refugee advocacy groups, of course, find it utterly astonishing that a Trump administration that would close America's doors almost wholesale to refugees from all over the world, because that is, in essence, what President Trump has done in the weeks since he returned to the White House on January the 20th, would throw America's doors open for one group of people, Afrikaner farmers, based on a false statement that the president has made about the Expropriation Act. He argues that those farmers are being dispossessed of their lands without compensation. He also argues more broadly that white Afrikaner farmers are suffering human rights abuses at the hands of President Ramaphosa's government. And of course, the United States government chides President Ramaphosa for the position that South Africa took at the ICJ, accusing Israel and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of war crimes. But it is an extraordinary moment for the United States to be opening its doors to refugees whose processing time for transition to a new life in America has been fast-tracked to just 3 months, where the standard processing time has been 18 to 24 months, and that was before Donald Trump shut America's doors. I think it's fair to say that most Americans don't really know this is taking place, and it's curious that the government wants to send apparently this delegation of US government officials to Dulles Airport to welcome the first Afrikaners as they fly in, because that will certainly raise visibility of this within the United States. And it's not clear that the American public will necessarily back it. I mean, Republican Trump voters don't want anybody coming in. They want America's doors shut, and they certainly aren't particularly literate in the politics of South Africa. And Democrats, of course, will say, well, if you're letting white Afrikaner farmers into the United States, why are the doors closed to so many other deserving people who have applied for refuge in America? But it's an astonishing symbol of how low the bilateral relationship between the two countries has fallen, and we'll wait to see when these planes are going to arrive, when these people are going to arrive, and what level of welcome they are provided by the Trump administration.
Simon Marks is our Washington correspondent. Simon, thanks very much indeed. And just to note, government officials in South Africa say they are working on a response, also rejecting the idea that Afrikaners are being targeted.